Hello, once again, welcome to this course. So in this course, we are going to be talking about to-do lists. We are going to be the demo project on to-do list. So here is my HTML file. So let's proceed with our coding. So here I can change my title to to-do list, right? So over here, now I can decide to have my container, that is dot container to be this, right? Then I can, have my h2 elements, and I can tag it what to do list, right? So over there we can have our normal form. I don't need this, so I can remove this. So I have my normal form. So in this form, I'm going to have my input type of text, right? Then name. Do I need name? I don't think if I need name. So I can remove all these things. I need ID. So I can just give it a class of what? Let's say to do inputs. Mhm. So we have to do input, and then the ID, I can also decide to give it ID of to do input still. Let's say to do inputs. Maybe this one I will remove the hyphen and then make it something like this. To do inputs, right? So I can decide to give it, okay, let me give it a placeholder of, let's say, add your content here, something like this, right? So I can go further to have my button, because this is the two major elements we need in this to-do list: an input, and then my button. So my button will be type of what? Type of submit. Now I can decide to give it class. Let's say I would like it to have a class of what? To do button, or I can say to do btn, right? So and then here I can have my add, a normal add text, right? So now I can now come down here below this div and have another div. Then I can decide to give it a hash of what? Let's say which element, which name. Okay, let's say to do list, right? To do list, let's say capital list, right? So this is a div with ID of what? To do list. So before I proceed, over there in my browser, you can see what I have, something like this. So, okay, but this is not what we want. So we want to style it so that it will look nice, right? So before I proceed, I'm going to add my style link. That is this link for our what? Our external styling. So, and then below, I'm going to have, this is a link from my what? Font Awesome, because I'll be making use of some of the some of the icons from Font Awesome. So this is what I have. So over here in my CSS, you can see I have a blank CSS file. So here is where I'm going to input my styling, so that it's going to what? Affect what? My design. So now I'm going to start with this universal selector, and then to reduce all the default padding and margin of the browser. So I have my padding to be 0, then my margin to be 0, and then my box sizing to be what? Border box, right? So with this, I am in one step ahead. So now what I'm going to do is to come down and then style the body. Let's say body. Okay, I want you to have, let's say, font family of Arial, something like this. And then what again? I want you to have a display of what? Flex, and justify content, center, right? And then margin top. I want you to have margin top of 50 pesos. 50 pesos. And then background color, let's say stale blue. So let's see over in our browser, you can see what we have over there in our browser. So we have something like this, right? So now we continue. So the next thing to start is what? Our container. So we are going to call it by the class name, which is container. So we have something like this, right? So dot container, let's give it a padding. Let's say a padding of what? 10 pesos, 15 pesos, 10 pesos, 15 pesos. So the next thing is to give it a border radius. Let's say border radius of what? 10 pesos. So the next thing is to give it display of what? Flex. Should have display of flex. Then what's the flex direction? Flex direction should be column, right? Then the next thing is to align items. Let it align items. It should be centered. And then the background color, I can call it the BG, is equals to, let's say the background color should be what? White, right? So over there, you see what we have in our browser, right? So, but then it's looking somehow because, we are still styling, right? We have not concluded our styling. So we have something like this. So let's proceed. So the next thing we have is our to-do form. And remember, over here in our form, we have a class of what? To do, right? So, okay, sorry, we haven't styled our form, giving it a class name. So let's give it a class of what? To do. That is to say, to do, to do form, right? Okay, I think we can go with something like this. And then let's give it an ID of what? An ID of what? Small letter to do form. Something like this, right? So let's go back to our CSS. So we have dot to do, capital to do form, the same thing, right? Yes. So what styling are we going to give it? So the styling we are going to give it is our what? We're going to give it first display of less, and then the next one is gap. So we want our gap to be what? 10 pesos. Next one is now margin bottom, because we want you to differentiate that, to give space between itself and then this div. So we want margin button. What is the margin button? Let's say 20 pesos, right? Okay, so with this, I think you are done with the to do form. So the next one is what? The to do inputs. Remember the one we start with, to do input. So we have to do underscore, sorry, to do hyphen inputs. So what styling are we giving it? We want a padding. Want it to have a padding of what? 10 pesos. And then what else? Let's give it a border of what? 1 peso solid. Okay. Sorry, there's a mistake here. 1 peso solid. Then hash this color. Okay. So we can decide to give it width of what? We need width of what? 250 pesos. Is that too much? Let's check. Okay, we are still in the line. So we can decide to give it border radius of 4 pesos. So let's see what we have. Okay, I have something like this. I think it's taking shape. All right. So the next one we are going to have is what? Our to do button. Remember this is for the input. Don't forget. So now it's going to be the button, that is to do hyphen btn. Sorry, there's a mistake. Hyphen btn. So here we are going to proceed. In the first styling we are going to give it is what? Padding. So the padding we want it to be what? 10 pesos and what? 20 pesos, right? This is for the up and down. This is for the left and right. So the next one is what? The background color. And the background color, we want it to be blue. Then color, normal color should be white. Then border, you don't want it to have border, so border should be none. Sorry, not this. Border should be none, right? So what else do we have? We have cursor. Cursor should be what? Pointer. Let's see. Okay, you can see something like this. All right. So we can decide to give it a little border radius. Border radius, let's say, should be 4. Okay. Let's make it 6. All right. So we can see something like this. So it's not taking shape, right? Yes, it's not taking shape. So let's continue. So now next one we're going to start is our what? Dot to do. Our normal to do. Our normal to do. So we're going to have display of what? Flex. So the next one is what? Justify content. Justify content to be space around or space between. Let's choose space between. So the next one is align items. Align items to be center. Then the next one is our background color. Our background color, let's give it a color code F2, F2, F2. Right? Good. So the next one is padding. Let's say that our padding is what? 10 pesos. Okay. So the next one is our border radius. Our border radius, let's say, oh, sorry. Border radius. So we have 6 pesos. Or let's give it 6 pesos. Right? Or we can make it 8 pesos depending on what we want to achieve. So this is the border radius. So the next one is now the width. The width, let's say, should be what? 380 pesos. Or we can make it 360. So this one we are styling now is what the div that's going to house all the content, all the text we are going to add. That is when we add something, then we click on this, it will add on it. So, but I'm only going to see it now to when we implement our what? JavaScript. So I noticed something. If you notice something, if you click on this, you see there is an additional um what is it called, outline. So what I'm going to do, just come here, this is our input, so we just need to just remove it by saying what? Outline to be what? None. So you see, we are no more getting the outline again. So but let's proceed with our styling. We are not yet done with our styling. So I think with this, okay, is there anything you okay, let's just stop here. So now when we go to our list, you can see something like this, but then this is trying to, it's like fighting. There's no space between these two. So what we are going to do is just to come here and just put something like h2. I want you to give a margin bottom of what? Let's say 20 pesos. So automatically you see there will be a space, a very enough space. So we can decide to change it, maybe add it font family or whatever, depending on what we want to achieve. So now we see we have successfully create our structure and then style it. You see our to-do list is taking shape, right? So it is beautiful, it is styled, it's styled, but then there is no functionality, because what we are expecting is if you type something and add, we should see a list of items being added, but we cannot see it. So that's where we now talk of what the JavaScript, which will give that interactivity and logic into what our code. So, but with this, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you find this video helpful. Hoping to see you in the next video.